been a long, strange trip on this bill. Some of us were dealing with the very earnest, very dedicated, very hard-working folks from the Coalition Against Trafficking back at the beginning of this session. They brought to this body a genuine, real concern about the trafficking in human beings, something that I know all of us find to be entirely repugnant and against everything that this nation, this state, these individuals that sit here are against. In following up, there was an expressed desire by that coalition to find the tools necessary to help these folks who are being trafficked, who were in fact victims. On the House side, they had proposed criminalization, making it a crime. That seemed to us to be very contrary, or at least some of us, to be very contrary to the purposes to which we were dedicating ourselves to help people who were in these very unfortunate circumstances. And really, through the tremendous work of Senator Bohr, my chair, Michael McCaffrey, the leadership, and Rick Corley, the attorney, one of the attorneys for Judiciary, I thought we came up with a really sound plan that that gave law enforcement all the tools necessary to investigate and to discover these circumstances, but didn't have the aspect of further punishing people who were involved in this trade. And all of the information I got, and I did a lot of learning on this, all of the information I said is that by penalizing, by criminalizing in this fashion, we would have the unfortunate aspect of making the activity more underground, more dangerous, and in fact, less able to prosecute the traffickers, the ones that we were originally dedicated to going after. There is a difference of opinion on that. And to the extent that I think many of you want to vote for this bill, I understand that difference of opinion. And I cannot predict the future, nor can you. And so I understand and I accept the fact that many of you feel this is the necessary and proper way to go. It is, in fact, at this point, the only way to go. But I have to tell you that my apprehension is such, and a respect for all of you I have to address to you, that my apprehension is such that I cannot support the bill. Regardless of how noble I think most of you have been in pursuing, and how earnest most of you are in believing that this is the proper path to go, I believe that it will be destructive. I believe that it will be injurious to the very people we're trying to help and protect. And I know all of you, and I know none of you want to do things that harm people. But it is my unfortunate, I think, obligation at this point to suggest to you that's exactly what we're going to do. During this process, many of us have been vilified by some of the folks outside this chamber. It is obvious to me that there is no one here, no one in this building, that supports trafficking. And there is no one in this building or in this room that would suggest that prostitution is an appropriate means of employment. But a lot of us haven't had to make the decisions that some of these folks have made. A lot of us haven't faced the poverty, haven't faced the desperation. When I was a kid, 18, 19, I remember I quit school, bummed around. I had a job, banged nails one place. I drove a cab in New York City, did a lot of things like that. And I thought I was pretty cool. I was living in what I referred to as hip, slick poverty. But what I knew is that within 20 hours, my parents or my brothers or my sister would come and get me if I got myself in deep. So I really was never facing real poverty and real need. But a lot of folks in our state are. A lot of folks in our state are. And I'm not going to condemn the decisions they make. I anticipate you'll vote for it, and I respect all of you. that do. Please respect my decision. I hope you will give me on a lot of work that this is not the way to go. And Madam President, I just want to make one other thing. I do call upon a lot of those non-government agencies who have come forward. There is going to be, if this law is enforced, there's going to be a lot of need out there for the very services that Chair Perry talked about. There's going to be need to assist. And I call upon those, and I truly believe they were sincere, the Catholic Church, the other organizations that came out, because I know they are sincere. But please establish those procedures and establish those places and establish that help, because there will be folks who will need it. I do not know how many, but we have essentially done this bill without those safeguards in place. And without them, a lot of people will be put at risk. We do not have the wherewithal right now to address that issue, but I do hope that those who have come forward earnestly in trying to protect and help these people will be available when that need arises. Madam President, members of the Chambers, I thank you very much for your indulgence.